This is Venture Capital Radio with Shannon Pearson on AM 650.
All right, this is Venture Capital Radio on AM 650. My name is Shannon, and I am joined in the studio by our resident award-winning entrepreneur and business strategist, Connie Linder. Hi, Connie.
Hi, Shannon.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So that's quite an intro I gave you, and I think it's important that we qualify that.
It's a lot to live up to. I'm feeling the pressure.
Well, you don't have to. You already have. That's the point. So you are definitely an entrepreneur. You get involved in a lot of startup ideas and projects, but you also have a very unique way of looking at business, which is something that we're going to get into in a little bit. But I mean, you have broken away from the financial industry a few years back. So you were an investment advisor, stockbroker.
I was, yeah.
And in leaving that business, as I understand it, you had a different way of looking at things. You realized people weren't asking the questions about social responsibility and environmental impact and that kind of idea. And you went off on this direction of what if people did? What if people took that line of questioning and put that into their choices of being, whether it be purchase choices or investment choices. And I'm curious to know, in your experience of doing that, what was the reaction you got initially?
Well, I got a lot of, well, that's really nice, dear. No, there was a lot of, I think a lot of people thought that I had something wrong with me, but then when they would actually work with me, they realized that there was some intelligence behind it. So I had to get a thick skin at the beginning to recognize that. Actually, at first, I really did think there was something wrong with me, and I ended up becoming a therapist because I needed so much therapy that it was cheaper to get a degree. So, actually, after I was a stockbroker, I did become a therapist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then when I realized that no, I'm pretty okay emotionally, I realized that I needed to be who I am. And I need to find my own place in the financial world, and I needed to find my own place as an entrepreneur. And I realized that I'm just a little ahead of people, and that's okay.
And when you say you're ahead of people, you mean that in the sense of your way of thinking usually precedes the pack.
Yeah, I'm someone that identifies opportunities and trends maybe just before the curve. So sometimes it's, and they call it, there have been pictures where people are standing on the edge of a cliff. And in a way, being involved in leading innovation is you are sometimes feeling that way. But there's also a sense of freedom of being able to look at this great expansive opportunity in front of you too. So once I realized that the way I was thinking was actually good business sense. I just started to forge my own way, one step at a time, and it started to pay off for me in terms of helping build the life that I have now.
So it's obviously worked for you because you've won a few awards that I know of. I'm sure there was more, but you are considered one of the top most powerful women in Canada in a list of 100 as trailblazer and trendsetter. So that was a pretty big honor, I would think.
Yeah, that's a nice honor.
Yeah, and then as a partner in Polymer Research Technologies, whom we've also interviewed on the show, that company won an innovation award.
Yeah, we won the New Ventures competition in 2011, which is a big award in the clean tech industry.
Okay, so again, clean tech, environmental responsibility, which is a big purpose for you.
Yeah. So when I was determined to make it on my own. Really, at first, it wasn't that I thought I needed to do it on my own. I actually looked for jobs with other companies, and then realized that they have a right, if I'm working for them, for me to do it their way. And I didn't want to do it their way. So I realized, well, that's a little bit of a problem when you're working for someone. So I started my communications company, and I found technologies, ocean energy and wind at the time, which was newer. Wind is not as new in Canada anymore, but at the time it was. And ocean energy is still pretty early stage.
Okay.
Clean tech burners, and I just got contracts supporting companies in new technologies. So I was involved in helping change legislation, and that led me to the point where I realized well, I want to own the stock now. It's nice to be a consultant working on other people's deals, but now I want some ownership and some say in the direction. So that's where my career has been taking me. So now often when I get involved in a deal, I get a founding share position,
Okay.
and I can actually map out the path of the company.
Well, and I see that being a big advantage to the company simply because now you have a stake in this. So it's not just that you get a consulting fee, your work is done, you wash your hands of it and walk away. You actually have a vested interest in everything moving forward in the plan that's been laid out.
Yeah, yeah, it's really taking ownership, and you're responsible. It's like being a parent. These are your
Yeah.
children as well, and you care for them, and I think that's also they call it founder syndrome. It's often a problem that early stage companies have with founders, is that they sometimes don't want to let go. So when we have the opportunity for growth by bringing in larger partners, I think I'm going to be okay with that. I think I'm going to be okay to say, hey, you can take over. I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I'm a thought leader.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I'm good at early stage of putting things together because I like the creativity, and I like being involved in the motivation and getting a good team together and identifying what needs to happen and where we're going. When it comes to the ongoing management of a company, I think there are people that can do that better than I can. So I like to motivate them and hire them and go on to something else.
You're listening to Venture Capital Radio on AM 650. I am Shannon. I'm the host of the show, and I'm talking to Connie Linder, who has awards with being a thought leader, and really I'd like to call you an innovator in business, in the sense that the way you look at things and the way you approach them is very innovative, and that works very well with that entrepreneurial spirit. So it's not the same old with you. It's how can we do it better the next time?
Yeah, and intention's a big thing for me. And so I think that if you intend good things, and when I say good things, I mean you intend to work with people, not against, and that you intend to have less impact on the ecological environment, not more. I think you need to set out your intention before you can be effective with the end result. Because if we don't set our compass in the right direction, then we're always going to be a little off. So that part of it's very, very important for me.
Being very organized, and that's a big part of any business, any type of structure that you're setting up. It has to be well organized, well thought through. Now, intention, I agree, is extremely important. And, one of the things I'd like to bring up is this segment that we're talking in right now, and the fact that, it's a little bit different than the other conversations I've had on this show. You're the last conversation I'm having this week. And that being said, I'd like to kind of coin this as yours, this little moment in time. And
it's my moment?
It's your moment, Connie.
Aw, thank you, Shannon. We all need moments.
I don't have an award for you. However,
that's okay.
I'd like to talk to you every week and have this conversation going, because I think it helps people to understand that there's a lot more to business that goes on behind the scenes, and intention is a big part of it. So that being said, you're going to be coming back on a weekly basis for the most part. There might be some times that you're dealing with other business ventures. But it'll be great to have you back ongoing, because you're going to bring a way of thinking and some business experience that I don't really have coming up on the show in any other segment. So,
well, I really appreciate this opportunity for sustainable ventures, which I think we've agreed could be a relevant name for the segment that I'm part of. And there always has to be a win-win, and where I appreciate the opportunity, because I do have a search directory platform where I'm bringing information about companies that are more progressive, offering better options for consumers and for the supply chain. I'm able to get some of them some profile, and at the same time, for the investment community that's out there listening, we want to make sure that we're adding value for you. So I want to be able to talk about what are the trends, because I'm involved in leading edge stuff where I've got people that are the innovators that often people don't have the chance to find out about, because this is the work that I do. So I'm able to talk about the trends, and for instance, one of the trends too, that's not just about innovation, but it's also going to be how we respond to innovation in terms of what kind of companies we'd want to invest in for growth. There's a big there's a big demographic shift happening, and as my daughter must be aware of, she's 11, and she asked me a week ago out of the blue, she said, "Mommy, do you think one day that you'll ever need a diaper?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, Sage, but if I do, can I live with you?" So I guess she's just a little ahead of the curve too. She's recognizing there's a demographic shift
That
happening,
is
and
brilliant.
so that's just maybe a little bit of a funny story, but
But
really,
from the mouth of babes, hey?
the relevance is that there are some shifts happening, and
Yep.
that will lead investors to be looking for opportunities in certain sectors. So I want to give investors the opportunity to think about what kinds of investments that they can make.
So the search engine you refer to is greenpagesdirectory.net, which is a great place to learn more about that and how it's structured. The other business that you carry is Insight Creative Communications, which is probably the best place to find you and contact you.
Yeah.
So if people want to contact Connie and learn more about what she's involved in, insightcreativecommunications.com is the best place to go. There is a contact tab, so you can go there. But I just want to coin this as your segment, Sustainable Ventures, and it's a pleasure to have you on board and have you coming back and contributing to listeners and to me and educating us on this movement of thinking about business and making sure that we're all thinking about it from a social and environmentally responsible perspective.
Well, we're already on the same page, and the listeners can't see it, but Shannon and I came into the studio today both wearing black pants and a pink shirt. So
Yeah.
you see what starts to happen when you get people aligned and focused? The world starts to change, and that's what we want to be part of. We want to be part of encouraging positive choices, and we want to be part of the new economy that's evolving, and we want to bring the listeners up to speed with that. So thank you for the opportunity that you've given me for this.
Well, thank you for being a part of it. You're listening to Venture Capital Radio. It is a pleasure to have you, Connie. As always, we'll talk to you next week. It was a great show. We heard from Vendome Resources by phone. They're back east. They're a silver company looking for silver in Mexico. We also spoke to the CEO of Row Mobility, and that is a fantastic company. You can find them at rowmobility.com, offering you some cellular solutions. And of course, our friends at N-Wave Corp, talking to them about their dehydration technology. You can find them at nwave.net. Thank you so much for joining us on Venture Capital Radio. For more information about the show or any of the guests I have on, go to venturecapitalradio.com or find me on Twitter at Shannon Speak. Thanks for joining us.
This is Venture Capital Radio.